Rescue workers in southeastern Afghanistan searching for survivors in the ruins of Mazar Dara village, flattened by Sunday's magnitude 6 earthquake. On Tuesday, the region was hit by a powerful 5.5 magnitude aftershock, sparking fears of more damage and more deaths. The death toll has already exceeded 1,400, with more than 3,500 people injured. The UN has vowed to spare no efforts, but warned that funding is insufficient.
Already supporting the response by deploying critical items to areas that can be reached. For example, our colleagues at UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency, are deploying pre-positioned essential relief items from stockpiles in Kabul. That includes tents, that also includes blankets and solar lamps.
Countries including the UK, EU, India, China and the UAE have all pledged support. It's the third major earthquake to hit Afghanistan since the Taliban seized power in 2021. It's also the latest crisis for a country reeling from deep cuts to aid funding, a weak economy, and millions of people forcibly returned from Iran and Pakistan.
Well, despite ongoing trade tensions between the United States and India, major American tech giants have majorly expanded their presence in India. Over the past year, companies including Meta, Amazon, Microsoft and Google, among others, have collectively hired more than 30,000 employees in India. This also marks the highest hiring growth in the last 3 years. Data from staffing firm Zeppeno shows a year-on-year increase of over 30% in new hires between August 2024 and August 2025. The current hiring approach has shifted from large-scale recruitment to more targeted capability-driven hiring. Instead of focusing on volume, companies are building specialized teams in strategic areas such as AI, cloud computing, and cybersecurity. Most job openings are now in mid to senior level roles. This strategic hiring focus is further supported by major infrastructure investments across India. In recent months, OpenAI announced its first office in New Delhi. Microsoft secured a large office space in Hyderabad and Apple signed a long-term lease in Bengaluru. Meta and Google have also expanded their physical presence, with Google launching one of its largest global campuses in Bengaluru. Now, all these moves underscore a long-term commitment by US tech giants to position India as a global talent hub, with hiring and infrastructure investments aligned with broader strategic goals.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is asking Minnesota's legislature to return to special session so that lawmakers can debate and possibly pass stronger gun control laws, according to reports. The move comes after a gunman opened fire at Annunciation Catholic Church and School on August 27th. 2 children, aged 8 and 10, were killed and 21 others were injured. After attending back-to-school events Tuesday, Walz told reporters that he'll be calling lawmakers in the coming days to work on a detailed plan covering several aspects of gun legislation. One part of the plan might be a ban on assault weapons. The sad reality of it is that what happened last week is preventable because so many nations around the world do it, and we cannot resign ourselves to believe that our little ones can't be safe in what should be and always is the most safe environments they can possibly be in. So there's more work to do there, Walz said, as reported by KSTP News. The governor hasn't fully explained his proposals yet, but said that they won't infringe on Americans' Second Amendment right to bear arms. He said that he is willing to consider suggestions from Republicans. It's uncertain whether new gun laws would even get enough votes to become law. The state legislature is nearly evenly split between Democrats and Republicans, making it hard to pass controversial laws. The House is expected to be tied 67 to 67 with Republicans in charge, and the Senate has a very narrow Democratic majority with just 1 vote. As disappointing as it is that the governor is doing this in such an overtly political way, House Republicans stand ready to protect students and schools. Minnesota House Speaker Lisa DeMuth said in a statement on X, I hope we can have a real conversation about all aspects of safety, including things like the school security funding that was denied by the DFL trifecta in 2023, and more funding for desperately needed mental health resources, instead of vague demands for policies that have not stopped gun violence in other states, the Cold Spring Republican added. 23-year-old Robin Westman carried out the mass shooting at the Catholic school in Minneapolis on August 27th. Officials said Westman used a rifle, a shotgun, and a handgun to fire more than 100 shots through the decorative glass windows of the church while students were attending Mass. For Straight Arrow News, I'm Lauren.
All right, shalom, shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushua, Bahasham Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopefully elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, wherever you may be. Wherever you may be, to you I say shalom, Yashua, shalom. Right, hold on, give me 2 seconds. Well, I guess I'll stay right here. Just fine. So back again with another world news with commentary. Right, never seen, the world news that I do. It's just basically things that are happening all over the earth. We're really looking for, prophetic things, but also, judgments and, all kinds of different things, which is why it's called world news, because these things are collected from around the world, which we also have another segment that we do. The current state is not as, around the world. Is more so, just certain things that are happening. It's a lesser version of world news. Okay. And then we also do sessions like this, commentating the news. And this is important, which is why I'm doing it. So it says, we're going in Trump to send National Guard troops to Chicago. Now, we've all probably heard by now, which I probably should have grabbed that clip, but it's okay. I probably won't be able to find it anyways. But where Trump spoke about how he's going to go clean up the slums, all right? And he mentioned graffiti and other things that were basically slang for saying that I'm about to come down on you Southern Kingdom Israelites. Now, whether or not he knows that those are Israelites and he's just following orders or whatever, doesn't really matter. What he says enough, okay? That I'm going to come down on you Southern Kingdom Israelites next, because right now ICE is only, chipping off the block of the Northern Kingdom, but he's going to come to the Southern Kingdom next. And the reason why I went and searched this article out, because there's two clips, which one I posted yesterday in the World News, which is Trump speaking about Chicago. All right. Now, I'm not going to lie, without a shadow of a doubt, we know there's a lot of, degenerates in Chicago, but that's not the point that we're going to make here. Okay, so there's a clip from yesterday I played where he says that we're going in. I'm not saying when, but we're going in, almost like it's going to be a surprise attack, a pop-up attack. Like, yeah, troops here. Okay, not saying that's how it's going to be, but just the way he words it. And then after that, I'm going to play a clip where this woman was assaulted. And I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched enough to like, yep, that's what I need to see. Exactly what I said to myself. I saw what I needed to see, because they popped up this probably an Israelite, but the so-called black-looking guy. So cracking down, with the old graffiti, slums, this, that, and the third thing. All right, slang towards Southern Kingdom Israelites, which are Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, which are the so-called Negroes, West Indians, and Haitians. Claiming he's going to go to other states, Chicago being one of those places. Okay, then you have something like this happen. Okay, a woman is attacked, blindsided. 2 women are pushed apart. 2 women are walking, but only one gets assaulted. Okay, and then they show the mugshot of the guy and so on and so forth. And then you have back-to-back jack-in-the-box shooters. So there's a lot of things, little cogwheels that are turning. You got the major wheels that turn, but the minor cogwheels play a major role, because those minor cogwheels, it connects that large cogwheel to that medium cogwheel. Okay, so that little minor, so there's a lot of little things turning here. So let's get into this article. Here it says, we're going in Trump to send National Guard troops to Chicago. This is dated September 2nd. Updated 7 hours ago. This is a minute long. I'll play it because it's probably the same thing in that clip. I'm not sure. I wanted to wait to play it because I'm not sure. Because sometimes when I play these videos, it'll stop my recording at some point. It does. I don't know why it does. It's just probably the app. But we'll play it.
President Donald Trump said on Tuesday that he plans to send National Guard troops to fight crime in Chicago.
Well, we're going in. I didn't say when. We're going in.
What do we do? The move would mark an extraordinary effort to militarize the nation's third largest city and set up a legal battle with local officials who have vowed to fight such a move. Trump's comments came just hours after a federal judge blocked Trump's administration from using the military to fight crime in California. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker called the president's remarks unhinged.
In the coming days, we expect to see what has played out in Los Angeles and Washington, D.C. to happen here in Chicago. Let's be clear, the terror and cruelty is the point, not the safety of anyone living here.
Since taking office, Trump has attempted to broaden the role of the military on U.S. soil, which critics say is a dangerous expansion of executive authority that could spark tensions between the military and ordinary citizens. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson said over the weekend that Chicago police will not collaborate with any National Guard troops or federal agents if Trump deploys them to the city in coming days, as he has threatened in the past.
And see, that's what whoever that person is says now, right? Until he does it. Okay. So, summary here. Trump vows to send in troops to Chicago, but won't say when. Okay. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Local officials have said they will take it to court. Effort is Trump's latest to militarize Democratic-led city. Okay. Washington, September 2nd, Reuters. President Donald Trump said on Tuesday he will deploy National Guard troops to fight crime in Chicago, an extraordinary effort to militarize the country's third largest city that was likely to trigger a legal battle with local officials. And they're not the problem. Okay. It says, we're going in. I didn't say when, but we're going in. That's the clip I'm going to play next, which I played yesterday. Trump told reporters at the White House. The word is tariff. Okay, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson swiftly condemned the action. He just wants his own secret police force that will do publicity stunts whenever his poll numbers are sinking. No, he doesn't. Okay, because that's what the military is for. The military is under the commander in chief, which is the president. So if he wants a secret police force, well, he's got one. It ain't so secret because he commands the military. Okay, now I'm not saying that maybe some 5-star general can't go rogue and, he probably take over. Like you had in the one movie, Not to Leave the World Behind. The second one, I always get the name of the second one. But at the end, you had troops pretty much against troops. And there were troops, and people were trying to protect the president, but there was troops that were saying, nah, we about to go, and take this nigga down, okay? And that's what was happening in the movie at the end there. And they weren't playing no games. If you were in the way, you would, getting the boom, boom, tat-out. So it says he just wants his own secret police force that would do publicity stunts whenever his poll numbers are sinking, whenever his jobs report shows a stagnating economy, whenever he needs another distraction from his failures, he told reporters. Those are just words, man. What the hell is that? Okay, here we go. Hours earlier, a federal judge blocked Trump's administration from using the military to fight crime in California, a ruling that does not apply to other states. But the judge said that Trump's state desire to send troops to Chicago and other cities provided support for his ruling. Since taking office, Trump has attempted to broaden the role of the military on U.S. soil, which is what's underway right now, which critics say is a dangerous expansion of executive authority that could spark tensions between the military and ordinary citizens. And that is what Esau wants. We're talking about the chief ones, okay? The bankers. They want the chaos, okay? So they can bring in their order, all right? Or the so-called order. Well, you can bring in martial law and have the heavy judgments going out, the draconian measures, okay? Start to give out curfews, stuff like that. Oh, another one. What was the other one? Man, I forget because I didn't watch the clip right before this. But pretty much they're going to aim at guns or something like that. I believe, I can't remember exactly, so I'm going to speak on it because my words might be wrong. But back on track though, yeah, they want the people to riot so they can bring in, the so-called order. Okay, we're gonna lock this ish down. Okay, and then sooner or later, okay, around the time all this chaos is going on, because it speaks about the chaos in the second Esdras. These things are going to happen: sedition among men, so on and so forth. Second Esdras, like what, 15, 16? Okay, somewhere around there. And other verses too, both in chapters 15 and 16. All right, but sedition among men, invading one another, they should not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Okay, so that's bound to happen. But Esau is going to wipe things up by use of his military, his technology, his robots, his robot dogs, and his drones. Okay, and lethal force. And then eventually he's going to say, all right, so now we got this in order, but we're going to get the next phase in order, which is I'm about to issue this CHIP. And if you don't take this, then you just out of there. Okay, many people are going to be put to death because of it, and so on and so forth, man. So yeah, so this is what we're driving into, because this is all part of the opening ceremonies of Jacob's Trouble, man. Okay, but I thought it was very interesting how you have these Jack in the Box shooters, and him talking about we don't know when we're going to send troops to Chicago. We're going to send them. We are going to send them. And now you have the situation like this, which backs up more reason, because that's all what Esau always does, give you that rhyme and reason. So this is more reason why we need lockdowns on Chicago. See what just happened to this poor lady here, and then the nigga just keeps committing these heinous crimes, because that's what they are. Because Esau, sometimes it just be random acts. Sometimes people better be set up to do these things, because we know how the government operates. But they can just keep doing this until they've done enough to say, okay, all right, we did enough to make the people really believe that we need to do what we're doing. See, that's all it is. They're making use of these situations. So as you see, got clipped off there. He said Trump administration was staging Texas National Guard for deployment in Illinois, along with federal agents from ICE, Customs and Border Control, the Department of Homeland Security, and other agencies. He said Trump would position armed federal agents and stage military vehicles on federal property, such as the Great Lakes Naval Base, including individuals relocated from L.A. Okay, the Republican president said he would love to have Pritzker, a Democrat, call and request troops, but we're going to do it anyway. Oh, there's more. I thought that was the end. We have the right to do it, Trump said, adding that the federal intervention would extend to Baltimore as well. See? Johnson, also a Democrat, said over the weekend that Chicago police will not collaborate with any National Guard troops or federal agents if Trump deployed them to the city as threatened. Pritzker, whose name has also been floated as a possible 2028 presidential candidate, and said the state was able to gather more details from unauthorized patriotic officials inside the government and from well-sourced reporters about Trump's plan to bring military personnel to the city. Okay, then it goes on to say, speaking about limits to presidential power, which we're not going to bring to that. That's probably also the end of the article there. Let me check, because sometimes there's more. Yeah, so that's pretty much the end of the article there. And the point is made. Okay, we're going in. Trump to send National Guard troops to Chicago. But the cliffhanger is he didn't say when he's going to go in. All right, so we're seeing the build up to Chicago. Okay, if they're not already there, as far as I know, they're not yet, but I could be wrong. But we're seeing that build up to Chicago next. Okay, he mentioned New York, D.C., L.A., and some other places. You had states that were joined in on sending troops to D.C. because he's already, doing the D.C. thing. You had other states that joined up with sending their troops, send them in to D.C. And so when the shoe's on the other foot, they're going to openly welcome Trump to come send troops to their states. Otherwise, they would have never sent, help to D.C. So we see what's happening here. It's going to be a statewide thing. And, we see what's coming, man. Martial law, all right, all kind of persecution and heavy judgment. And, things are about to get really ugly. As the scripture saying, the devil's going to come down with great wrath. And we're going to see his wrath is going to tear perpetually, like it says in Obadiah and Amos. And it's going to wax worse and worse. He's going to be like a madman, sparing none, like it says in 2 Esdras chapter 16. Okay. Now, one more scripture I will quote, which is usually a scripture we quote when we go into talking about, the technical things, right? His AI and stuff like that. But 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we're not ignorant of his devices. You always go into that scripture when we talk about his AI stuff, his technology. But his devices can also be manipulation of, perceived threats and the way you receive certain information and so on and so forth, right? So he can't pull the wool over. Hey, what the scripture say? If it were possible, he would deceive the very elect. Okay, so you hopeful elect out there, you're not going to be deceived by this devil and what he's doing. All right, because he will create situations in order to move forward in his plans and his agenda, and he is going to try to federalize all the states when it's necessary as time comes. All right, and we don't know when that time is going to be. We're just looking at the baby steps happening as they come. So that's probably it. I don't think anything else, because I don't really remember, besides that I mentioned the lady. I'm going to play that clip, the clip from yesterday. I'm going to play that next. And there was one clip before we got into this article that you probably obviously by now at this point you heard. But yeah, so that's pretty much it as I can think of right now. Maybe other than later on down the video, you got China, all right, prancing around showing their military might. Okay, so, that's just some World War III talk there for you. But, that's all I have for you. Lord willing, you edify. To next time, Yasharal, I'm going to say shalom.
Have you decided you're definitely going to send National Guard troops to Chicago?
Well, we're going in. I didn't say when. We're going in. When you lose, look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing. I have an obligation. When we lose, when 20 people are killed over the last 2.5 weeks and 75 are shot with bullets, there's no place in the world, including you can go to Afghanistan, you can go to places that you would think of, they don't even come close to this. Chicago is a hellhole right now. Baltimore is a hellhole right now. I would love to have him call. I would love the governor of Illinois. I'd be honored to take his call. All he has to do is say, sir, we need help. It's out of control. And everyone knows it is. He's not kidding anyone. I would love to have, I would say, Governor Moore call, because I watched him over the weekend trying to explain that Baltimore, what they need is housing. No, they don't need housing. They need to get rid of the criminals. These are hardcore criminals. We took many people off the streets of Washington, D.C. They're hardcore. They're not going to be good. In 10 years, in 20 years, in 2 years, they're going to be criminals. They were born to be criminals, frankly. They were born to be criminals, and they're tough and mean, and they'll cut your throat, and they won't even think about it the next day. They won't even remember that they did it. And we're not going to have those people.
Miles only works downtown 1 day a week. Today, she's still suffering the consequences of that random attack. But it is what she found out about the person who prosecutors say did it that has led her to speak out.
He hit me with such force.
Sitting at home in Lake Villa today, Kathy Miles admits the last thing she remembers before her attack on August the 19th is walking past Block 37 in the Loop on the way to the Union Station.
I woke up and my coworker was standing above me saying, "You're okay, we're in the hospital, you've been assaulted."
She then passed out again.
The next thing I remember is my daughter Deanna saying, "Hi Mama, I'm here, you're okay."
And while she doesn't remember what happened, a colleague who was walking with her at the time told her this.
She had said this man came in between the two of us, shoved us apart, and then hit me in the face.
That punch left Miles with several broken bones in her face, as well as a concussion. According to police, she was assaulted by 32-year-old William Livingston. A record search produced 13 mugshots of Livingston going back to 2012. A large number of those arrests for aggravated assault and battery of both women and police officers, something Miles found out after the fact.
Like, what is enough? What does someone have to do where he's going to be, they're going to be held accountable?
According to online records, Livingston's history of random acts of violence against women goes back 8 years. In 2017, he was accused of randomly attacking 2 women months apart. Both cases were dropped. In 2022, Livingston was sentenced to 5 years in prison after prosecutors said he punched and attempted to rob 4 women within 20 minutes in the Loop. And yet, just 14 months later, in 2023, while on parole, Livingston was arrested for hitting a woman in the face on North Michigan Avenue. And in 2024, he was sentenced to 100 days in prison after punching a 15-year-old girl, also on North Michigan Avenue.
I'm not going to let someone speak for me. I need to speak for myself. I need to say something. If I say nothing and he does this to another person, I'm going to feel bad.
Livingston's next court date is set for September the 15th at the Skokie Courthouse. Kathy tells us she will be there.
Satellite pictures analyzed by the Associated Press show an immense construction project ongoing at the site of Israel's long-suspected nuclear weapons program. These satellite photos are of Dimona, that's in the Israeli desert, and has a heavy water reactor that's been functioning since the 1960s. That heavy water reactor, experts say, provides Israel with the plutonium for its nuclear weapons as well as the isotope tritium. That isotope is used to boost and also miniaturize nuclear weapons down to fit onto missile warheads. Now, the Israelis have never confirmed or denied having a nuclear weapons program, and the Israeli government did not respond to questions from the Associated Press over this construction. However, analysts who spoke to the AP, as well as the AP's own satellite analysis of pictures, show that this project could be any number of things, including what experts say could be a new heavy water reactor that could allow Israel to potentially build more nuclear weapons or potentially service the ones they already have. That isotope tritium that I mentioned earlier decays at about 5% a year. That means in about 20 years that tritium is gone, meaning that they'll need to continue to run a heavy water reactor to be able to have the nuclear weapons that Israel doesn't confirm that it has.
A U.S. missile vaporizes a Venezuelan drug boat in a devastating strike, killing 11 suspected cartel members. President Trump calls it a clear warning to narco traffickers flooding the United States with deadly drugs. With warships amassed and tensions soaring, Washington signals a new aggressive front in the Caribbean drug war.
Flash of light, then a fireball on the horizon. A U.S. missile launched with lethal precision obliterated a Venezuelan vessel in a high-stakes narcotics interdiction. The boat, designated as a drug runner, was completely destroyed in the strike. U.S. President Donald Trump said that the U.S. military operation targeted members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. Trump said the vessel was in international waters.
This is a counter-drug operation. We're going to take on drug cartels wherever they are and wherever they're operating against the interests of the United States. The president's top obligation is to secure the national interest and the national security of our people.
The decision to blow up a suspected drug vessel instead of seizing the vessel and apprehending its crew is highly unusual and evokes memories of the U.S. fight that's against terror groups like Al-Qaeda. Experts say the show of force is as much about politics as narcotics. Washington deployed warships in the southern Caribbean after Trump promised to crack down on drug cartels. 7 U.S. warships, along with 1 nuclear-powered fast attack submarine, are either in the region or expected to be there soon, carrying more than 4,500 sailors and marines. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro is condemning the massive U.S. naval presence as an aggressive provocation. He says 8 U.S. ships with 1,200 missiles are targeting Venezuela. His government is now on a high alert, accusing Washington of trying to destabilize the region. The stakes have never been higher. The Caribbean, now theater of intense military posturing, holds its breath as the two nations clash in a dangerous game of cat and mouse. Bureau Report, Vion Holdesman.
As Russian President Vladimir Putin hailed unprecedented level of ties with Chinese President Xi Jinping, U.S. President Donald Trump accused Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping of conspiring against Washington with the leaders of Russia and North Korea. Trump's accusations came as China hosted world leaders at its largest ever Victory Day parade in Beijing, a showcase of China's military prowess. On Trump's Truth Social post, he said, quote, "Please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un as you conspire against the United States of America." Russia was quick to respond to Trump's conspiracy accusations. Kremlin said that Russia is not plotting against Washington and suggested that the U.S. president was perhaps being ironic with his criticism.
And he said, once again, not without irony, in my opinion, that these three leaders were allegedly conspiring against the United States. I would like to say that no one has been conspiring, no one has been plotting anything, no conspiracies. Moreover, no one of these three people even had such an idea. Moreover, I can say that everyone understands the role the United States, Trump's administration, and President Trump personally are playing in current international affairs.
The U.S. president also mentioned the massive amount of support and blood the United States gave to China during World War II. Trump said he hopes China is rightfully honoring those who sacrificed their lives during the war. China's Xi was joined by 26 heads of states, including Kim and Putin, which was viewed by observers as a message to Western nations that have shunned them. China has sought to position itself as a possible counterweight to the U.S. since Trump's tariffs rock the global economic order. Separately, in an interview, the U.S. president said that he was not concerned about the axis forming between Russia and China.
So we are here on Chang'an Avenue where Beijing just held a big military parade. It was for the occasion of the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II, or Victory Day. Now, what did we see at this parade? We saw intercontinental ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles, military vehicles, fighter jets, bombers, and also new military units, such as the Cyber Space Force. President Xi commemorated victims of World War II in the past. He thanked foreign countries for their participation in the war effort 80 years ago. But he also had a forward-looking message for the here and now. And that is that China is here and China is strong. And I will quote him in the last message to people. He said, "The Chinese people's rejuvenation cannot be blocked."